Many of us assume that the International Women's Day is like today's concept, and because of Archie's and Hallmark greeting cards, it's becoming more and more famous. And it's a postmodern celebration. But no, it started in 1901 as a conference. And in 1911, it was recognized as a special day to appreciate women, and then it spread worldwide from then on. So it is not a new celebration, it's already centuries old. And it is important that we do celebrate women simply because we live in a season or at a time where women feel very unsafe, feel humiliated, feel ill-treated. We live in such a season where they have to fight every living day and fight every living person. That's the kind of situation that we are going through. And these are the seasons where most women are facing very, very, how do I put this? Very, very difficult times in not just the physical aspect, but even in the mental aspect of what they are facing. Harassments everywhere that they go, and unpeaceful situations even inside homes. And therefore, it is more important that we create more and more awareness to not just us men, but also women, to celebrate, to honor and respect women themselves. Think about it. When Jesus was on the face of this earth, it was probably no different. It was a time where women were not treated as equals until Jesus came along. And you look at various passages in the Bible, in the Gospels, it goes on and on with Jesus coming forward with an example of respecting and honoring women during various stages of his ministry. For example, John chapter 4 from verses 5 to 26. It talks about the Samaritan woman who came to the well when Jesus was passing through Samaria. No Jewish rabbi would ever give so much regard to even a Jewish woman during that season. But here was a Samaritan woman, a woman in the first place, and then a Samaritan, and a Samaritan woman with a kind of a nasty past. But Jesus offers, with all respect and due honor to her, the water of life himself. If you go on, you look at John chapter 8 verses 2 to 9. There is another woman who is caught in adultery. They bring her to Jesus and they want to stone the lady. The Pharisees bring her, and Jesus says, "He who has never sinned, cast the first stone." And slowly everybody starts walking out. Jesus says, "If no one else is condemning you, I also do not condemn you. Go and sin no more." Jesus is always the first with grace and forgiveness and respect and love. I believe as we live in such times where women themselves criticize other women. I don't know if you have come across this, but I have seen many situations for clothing or for the career choice or for the language choice or for the ethnic choice of living, or probably for the kind of behavior, women criticize other women. And as much as we are talking to men, thankfully tonight there are more men than women. As much as we are talking to men tonight, it is also important that women themselves take notice of certain things and be aware of honoring and respecting women. Here are a few lessons that I want to run through very quickly. I'm not going to be very long. I'm quickly going to run through a few of these things, but towards the end, I hope the video is ready. Please keep the video ready. A beautiful, I'm sure you would have watched it, but it comes well along with this sermon. So here are a few lessons. First of all, I believe everything starts in the mind. If attitudes can be checked and set right, actions will follow suit. You accept that? If in your mind, if things change, then your actions will follow suit and it will fall into place. Right? Now, you must also understand that our society, our culture, and our history is such that we have evolved into a place where we respect women today. It wasn't like that before, but over time we have evolved. It is not in our character. Therefore, we think respecting and honoring women is a luxury that we are giving them. It is not the same with man. Right? In our homes, it's somehow so natural that man is respected, kept above, treated well, but when it is done for a woman, it is treated as a luxury. It's just that we are evolving, we are making into a habit, but what is more important is that it must be in our character. It must be imbibed into us. 1 Timothy chapter 5 verses 1 and 2, it says, "Do not rebuke an older man, but exhort him as a father, younger men as brothers." And then what comes towards the second part is what I love to pay attention to. Older women as mothers, younger women as sisters, with all purity. I believe purity is an attitude that all of us must possess, especially in the way that we are treating our women. With a clean thought, clean sense of respecting them and honoring them. If that starts in our mind, I believe our homes will have more peaceful situations. I believe our homes will have a family that will reflect what Jesus Christ intended to have on the face of this earth. It must begin with our attitudes. Men respecting women in the attitude. Women respecting women in their attitudes. Secondly, Job is one of the most godliest man in my thinking, in all of the reading of the word. Now, in Job chapter 31 verses 1, he said this beautiful statement: "I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a young woman." Yeah. I have made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a young woman. Furthermore, 1 John chapter 2 verses 16, "For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh." Secondly, what does it say? The lust of the eyes. Think about it. Your eyes are one of the most prominent ways through which you can fall into sin. One of the most important things for every Christian person to do is to guard your eyes. What you see, how you see. It all depends on how you are looking at women. We can stare and ogle at women who just pass by, even at the cost of us falling down into a ditch or something. Or if you're riding, probably go and crash somewhere. That's how we are naturally working ourselves. Walk down any of the roads in Bangalore, and if a young girl is walking by, every passing man will turn and look at the lady. It is quite natural. And if a lady is wearing probably a skirt or any comfortable clothes, every man looking at her will pass a comment. Almost every man. Think about it. I think it's time we wake up and start respecting women visually. Women must be stopped. We must stop looking at women as sexual objects. It somehow has become our character, our habit, and it doesn't seem like it is a sin at all anymore. Pornography has invaded all of our lives, and it has become just another casual habit. That it is okay and we are doing it in our private life and nobody else is watching it. As long as it does not harm somebody else, it does not matter at all. It has become such a normal habit, especially for youngsters. People of God, I want to instruct you, encourage you through the word of the Lord tonight. Let us start respecting women visually. Let us start respecting and honoring women in the way we look at them. When women look at other women, start to respect them for what they wear, for the kind of job that they're doing. Let us not insult one another. Let us not speak in a derogatory manner of one another. But let's have regard and respect for one another. Thirdly, attitude, visual. Thirdly, Colossians chapter 3 verses 19. Husbands, love your wives and do not be bitter towards them. Another translation, it says, do not be harsh towards them. Husbands, love your wives. Do not be harsh towards them or bitter towards them. You know, this can be applicable in all of the verbal behavior that happens inside our homes. Again, it is somehow common for all of the, probably it's so, I am not sure if it's okay to say almost all of the Indian men, or somehow our culture has taught us that we can all be so dominative in our homes. Authoritative. I am first. I am the more important one. I am the more hardworking one. I am the one who goes out and works hard for the family, struggles and comes back home. I am the one who is doing most for the family. Or abusive words, use of bad language, so very common in our daily lives. That it doesn't matter at all. You can speak bad language to a woman and just walk off easily. Doesn't matter at all. Or speaking discouraging words. You can't even cook properly. You can't even do one thing right. How long are you going to continue like this? Words that are discouraging for our women around us. And we have continued in this habit for over and over for years together. Paul in Colossians chapter 6 says, let your speech always be with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer each one. I think this is very, very applicable to all of us who ought to regard and respect women with our words. Honor women with our words. It's so important to understand that the words that we speak leave a lasting impact over everyone's lives, especially over the women that God has blessed our lives with. People of God, maybe you have mothers at home, sisters at home, girlfriends in your life, wives that you have been married to, whoever the Lord has placed in your life. Think about it for a moment. What are the words that you have used that has been discouraging to them? Words that have been dominative over them. Words that have been abusive over them. To the extent that you don't even realize that you have hurt them over and over again. Let your speech be always with grace. Everybody say grace. Men, please say grace. Let it be with grace, seasoned with salt. Your words need to carry flavor when you speak it out to the people that God has blessed in your life. Many times siblings will quarrel, and I believe it's most of the time the sisters that go back. And yet you will see the brother using abusive words or fighting, yet trying to speak. I want to speak to all the brothers here tonight. Regard your sisters with words that are seasoned with grace in your life. Speak speak words that are flavored with grace in your life. It is important that we speak words that bring life. Fourthly, and I believe for me this is one of the most important points. 1 Corinthians chapter 5 verses 11. Let's read that first. 1 Corinthians chapter 5 verses 11. Now I am writing to you that you must not associate with anyone who claims to be a brother or a sister, all right, but is sexually immoral or greedy, an idolater or slanderer, a drunkard or a swindler. Do not even eat with such people. I have come across many friends and relationships in my life. In the years that come around, they say, I am your brother, I am your sister, I am your mentor, I am someone who can take care of you, but have evil intentions behind their backs. I don't know if you have come across people like that. People who come with beautiful words to talk, as if they are being a blessing to your life. But as time passes by, you will know that they are with some kind of sexual intentions. Youngsters, this happens very commonly among you. In colleges, guys will come around and say, I am like your brother. It is no harm to spend time more and more. What time begins with just talking goes on with spending time over and over again and then ends up in a wrong place. Be careful with the kind of relationships that are coming around you even in your young age, or at your workplace, or in your neighborhood. Many people who will come saying, I am like your brother, I am like your sister, I am here to only encourage you, I am here to only do this with you. And then as time passed by, the same brother, the same sister turns out to become something else. Beware when parents warn you. Beware when your parents give that red signal into your life. Why are you talking on the phone that long? The answer you give? My brother only. He is like my brother. He is like my sister. Beware when parents come out and warn you against certain people in your life. Beware of people who are with you for some kind of selfish benefit in your life. And men, let me tell you this. Let's not deceive the women around us, the girls around us, with sheep's clothing. Let's not deceive women around us with words that are beautiful on the outside, but with evil intentions on the inside. Because God is watching every move and every thought that is happening in your life right now. Can we play that video, please? Hello? Can we play that video? I want you to watch this video. This is a clip of a stand-up comedy, and I'm sure it came up on one of your Facebook walls. You would have watched this earlier, but it makes a lot of sense to the next point that we're going to share. So, can we play that?
We're going to start discussing men's brains, women's brains, and how they're very different from each other. Now, I want to start with men's brains. All right? Now, men's brains are very unique. Men's brains are made up of little boxes. And we have a box for everything. We've got a box for the car. We've got a box for the money. We've got a box for the job. We've got a box for you. We've got a box for the kids. We've got a box for your mother somewhere in the basement. We got boxes everywhere. And the rule is, the boxes don't touch. When a man discusses a particular subject, we go to that particular box, we pull that box out, we open the box, we discuss only what is in that box. All right? And then we close the box and put it away, being very, very careful not to touch any other boxes. Now, women's brains are very, very different from men's brains. Women's brains are made up of a big ball of wire. And everything is connected to everything. The money's connected to the car, and the car's connected to your job, and your kids are connected to your mother, and everything's connected to everything. And it's like... It's like the internet superhighway, okay? And it's all driven by energy that we call emotion. It's one of the reasons why women tend to remember everything. Because if you take...
You like it? I know it's hilarious and it's very nice to laugh, but listen, I hope you listen to the last line. Emotion. Although everything is connected like a ball of wire and everything is linked with everything, one of the most important things that you have to understand is that women are driven emotionally. And somehow, we men don't seem to understand that emotion at all, in many ways. I want to remind you Colossians 3:19 again. Do not be harsh with them, but husbands, love your wives. It's an emotion that we must be able to express to our near and dear ones, which we many times fail. We assume that emotion is their vulnerability that they have. But we fail to understand that God has put that vulnerability, that emotional quotient, the emotional value in their lives as a strength for the home. We many times misunderstand that and we try to attack that vulnerability. You're always crying. You don't know to handle these things. You're always emotional with these things. We try to attack it, but we fail to understand that God has put it in a woman so that she can make our home complete. It is never a negative thing. It was always a positive one. And I believe as men, we must contribute to that. That is why Paul writes and says, husbands, love your wives. Do not be harsh with them. People of God, all of us men who are listening to this word of God, I want to impress this upon our hearts. Let's begin to start expressing love with the women that God has blessed into our lives. You know, if you've read Proverbs chapter 31, I'm sure many of you know that an ideal woman's description has been given in Proverbs chapter 31. And many of us might turn out and say, no, I am not blessed with a woman like that. You know, God has most definitely blessed many of us or all of us with more than one Proverbs 31 women. Not just one. In our homes, in our churches, we have more than just one. But if there is someone who is actually telling us that, no, I have never come across one such person like that, I am going through a very difficult life, with the way you honor and respect women, at least in the ways that we have meditated this evening, I believe you can make a woman to become a Proverbs 31 woman. God has created a woman out of a man, and He has made our lives complete alongside a woman. I believe our sisters, our wives, our mothers, Each of them are created and put into our lives with a definite purpose. And we must honor and respect them in the way that we are living our life.